राम हर अमृत सर नावारे, सतगुर ज्ञान मजन है नीको, बिल कलमल पाप उतारे रहो। हुक्म श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब, पेज 981-982, अंग 981-982, नट महला 4th। राम हर अमृत सर नावारे, सतगुर ज्ञान मजन है नीको, मिल कलमल पाप उतारे रहाओ। Not Mahalla 4th. In this Shabad, Guruji quotes many examples from Hindu mythology to illustrate how the company and guidance of saints and God's grace has sanctified even the worst sinners. He begins the Shabad by making a general statement about the purifying effect of meditating on God's name and listening to Guru's sermon. He says, O God, whom you so inspired to meditate on your immaculate name, as if you have bathed that person in the pool of nectar, meeting with the Guru, that person has shed off all his or her sins and evil thoughts. Stanza 1- pause. संगत का गुण बहुत दिखाई, पढ़ सुहागन की उधारे, परस न परस भय कुबजा को, ले बैकुंठ सिधारे. Now Guruji illustrates his above statement by quoting two legendary examples. He first refers to a prostitute named Ganika, who had basically lived all her life in sin. One day she saw a saint who, along with his pet parrot, was getting wet and cold in rain. She took pity on him and invited him into her house and served him with warm food and drinks. Then she requested the saint to tell her if there was any way which could save a sinner like her. The saint gave his parrot to her with the instruction to daily teach it to utter God's name. In the process of teaching God's name to the parrot, she herself got imbued with God's love, so she shed off all her sinful ways and was ultimately saved by God. The second story is that of an old lady named Kubja, who was suffering due to her hunched back. She had genuine love for God Krishna. One day she tried to put a necklace of flowers on Krishna's neck, but because of her bent back could not reach high enough. Looking at her true love and devotion, God Krishna put his foot on her foot and placed his thumb under her chin, pushed it up in such a way that her hunch was removed and she was emancipated. So referring to these legends, Guruji says, "Oh my friends, very powerful is the effect of company. See how, as a result of company of a saint, while teaching the parrot, the prostitute Ganika was emancipated. Similarly, God Krishna blessed the hunchback Kubja by his touch and took her along to the heaven." Stanza 1. अजमल प्रीत पुत्र प्रतिकीनी, कर नारायण बोला रे, मेरे ठाकुर कै मन भाए भावनी, जम कंकर मार बिदारे. Next, Guruji cites the example of a Brahmin Hindu priest, Ajamal, who, although a very learned scholar of Vedas and a royal priest, ignored his Guru's advice and started going to his work through sex-infested streets and fell in love with a prostitute. Not only that, in spite of warnings from his Guru and the king, he continued visiting her. Ultimately, he was dismissed from service and driven out of his government home. So both Ajamal and his concubine had to live in abject poverty and had 6 children together. One day, by chance, a saint happened to pass that way. They served him with great devotion and begged him to suggest some way for their redemption. The saint asked them to name their next child Naarayan, meaning God. They did so, and Ajamal developed such special affinity for his youngest child that he would always carry him and kept calling him by his name Narayan. But being old, he soon fell ill and was terrified, seeing demons of death getting ready to take him away. Then he earnestly started calling upon the true Narayan, or God himself, to come to his aid and save him. Listening to his sincere prayer, God took pity on him and emancipated him. So referring to the above legend, Guruji says, "O my friends, Ajamal had great affection for his son, whom he used to call Naavaaraiy. In this way, he got imbued with the love of God himself. This love touched the heart of my master God, so he drove away all the demons and emancipated him from his misery." Stanza 2. मानुख कथा कथ लोक सुनावे, जो बोले सो न विचारे, सत्संगत मिले तं दृढ़ता आवे, हर राम नाम निस्तारे. However, Guruji wants to advise us that we shouldn't simply tell such stories to others. Instead, we should ourselves learn a lesson from these stories and actually try to seek and benefit from the company of holy people. He says, "O my friends, one doesn't benefit if one only delivers lectures and recites such stories to others, but doesn't reflect on what he or she says. It is only when one meets with holy company that one develops a true faith in the Guru's advice that God's name does emancipate a person from the worldly involvements and pains of births and deaths." Stanza 3. जब लग जियो पिंड है साबत, तब लग किछु न सुमारे, जब कर मंदिर आग लगानी, कड़कूप कड़े पनिहारे. Commenting on a human nature to postpone action on Guru's advice and meditating on God's name till the end, Guruji says, "O my friend, as long as one's body and mind are whole and fully functional, one doesn't remember God at all. But only when one realizes that death is imminent, one runs to temples or calls on gods to save. But it is just like starting to dig a well to draw water for putting out the fire when one's house catches fire." Stanza 4. साकत स्यों मन मेल न करियो, जिन हर हर नाम बिसारे, साकत बचन बिचवा ज्यों टसिए, सज साकत परै परारे. Therefore, advising his own mind and indirectly us, he says, "O my mind, never associate with a worshipper of Maya who has forsaken God's name. The words of the worshipper of power are injurious and painful, like the stinging of a scorpion. Therefore, abandoning the company of an egoist, you should remain far away from such a person." Stanza 5. लग लग प्रीत बहु प्रीत लगाई, लग साधु संग सवारे, गुर के बचन सत सत कर माने, मेरे ठाकुर बहुत प्यारे. However, telling us which type of company is truly beneficial, Guruji says, "O my friends, they who have fallen in love with the Guru by joining the company of saints, they have been emancipated. Yes, they who have accepted the truth of the Guru's word are very dear to my master." Stanza 6. पूर्व जन्म पर चून कमाए, हर 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 नाम प्यारे, गुरु प्रसाद अमृत रस पाया, रस गावे रस विचारे. However, indicating who those rare persons are who become dear to God, Guruji says, "O my friend, it is only those who in their previous births had done at least some virtuous deeds are now in love with God's name. By Guru's grace, they obtain the relish of rejuvenating nectar of God's name and always sing and praise that relish." Stanza 7. हर हर रूप रंग सब तेरे, मेरे लालन लाल गुलारे, जैसा रंग दे सो होवे, क्या नानक जंतु विचारे. Guruji concludes the Shabad by saying, "O my most beloved and affectionate God, Nanak says that all these different forms, features and colors are yours. Whatever color or form you give us, we become like that. Otherwise, what can we poor creatures do?" Stanza 8-3. The message of this Shabad is that even if until now we have been forgetful of God and have been living a sinful life, we can still enjoy the bliss of union with God if we forsake the company of the self-conceited worshippers of Maya and instead seek the congregation of the Saint Guru. Reflect on His word, start singing praises of God, and meditate on His name with true love and devotion. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. SGGSP 981-982. Thank you.